Just binked his gut shot.
All right, we'll get back out there.
Thanks for the positive energy. Sure, some positive energy. I like it.
Daniel's now got Donnie drawing dead.
Negreanu fires 5,500.
Phil Hellmuth walks back to the table. Donnie could be in trouble. The 5 is an undercard, and the only hand it really made was a gut shot, so it's hard for him to know it hurt him. He might be a little suspicious. While we were back and forth with Phil, Daniel called the flop. Now he's betting all of a sudden. Daniel's very likely to do this with a hand that is at least a pair of 9s or better. Donnie's a guy that claims to study his opponent, so he might know this is the exact kind of hand that would be all over Daniel.
Queen 9 or something?
I have a straight.
That's good enough.
Yeah, the nuts straight.
Somehow I think you're lying because you're sure.
Pick a card, any card.
That one.
Obvious straight.
Shows the 4.
I had straight. You'll have to just wait and see. I'm telling you, you hit a straight.
Now I think it's pocket 4s.
You did the old Johnny Chan play? But yeah, it's fun sometimes. It's the old school Johnny Chan. Check, call, lead. What?
I remember you describing that.
Yeah, it's fun. That time I should have checked it, but oh well.
I flopped a full house the other day in the game, and I raced the guy in the flop. He had a straight draw. He folded.
Oops.
Another sick brag
7,
from
8.
Phil.
Yeah, that was sick.
The cannon, Capella is out. Stern, ace-9, passes. King-9 suited for Friedman.
Suited king well within a raising range from the cutoff.
He does to 1,200. Ketchaloff folds on the button. Daniel's out. Phil's in.
Phil defends from the big blind with an ace, knowing he's pretty far ahead of Prahlad's cutoff range.
King, deuce, 8. Hellmuth checks. Friedman checks, top pair.
He's giving Phil a little rope to hang himself.
7 of hearts on the turn.
Bad turn card for Phil to try to bluff at this.
He bets 2,600.
He may think he has the best hand. Prahlad's probably pretty sure he has the best hand with top pair. And if he is somehow behind, he's got a flush draw, so a lot of ways to improve. He's pretty unlikely to fold here. He may raise.
Nope, just calls.
Avoids a re-raise that way.
Give me the 3 of diamonds when I'm betting.
Nope, it's the king of clubs.
Well, that's even better.
Phil thinks he likes this card. He obviously hasn't made Prahlad for a king at all and probably thinks the second king makes it even less likely.
Phil fires 4,400.
This is an ill-timed value bet. Phil must have put Prahlad on some kind of a draw and thinks he missed. Prahlad's pretty sure he has the best hand, but he has to figure out what Phil's got before he can decide how big of a raise he'll call.
$88.
Friedman doubles the bet to 8,800.
That's a min raise.
Wow. Min raise special.
Raised me with just queens. You're very good, Prahlad. Very good. All right. Queens are good, buddy.
Phil calls.
King is also likely good if queens are good. Ace 8.
Friedman wins a pot of 26 grand.
This guy holds over me, Prahlad. But not today. I'm going to get him. Remember that pot you beat me online? Remember that pot you beat me online where I flopped the nuts and we put it...
Most poker players remember every pot they've ever lost.
Made a flush on me.
And you just went crazy like all of them the kids do?
That's what's going to happen today, except you're not going to hit the flush.
Enjoying this, Eugene?
Prahlad Friedman is like a Kenyan plumber. He wins every race and always makes his flush.
Well, Eugene, with some handiwork of his own, he's up nearly 32 grand. The loose cannon stuck 7,500, and Donnie's hurting.
Donnie lost a big pot to Eugene on hand number 2.
So you're actually not very much ahead of me lifetime.
No, I'm not.
All I got to do is beat you for like 40 or 50, and we're even.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel it coming.
Donnie folds. Ace-7 for Friedman. He's out. Eugene Ketchaloff.
Like you raise me with queens. Call.
Raises to 15
today, I'll tell you that much. So if you can just always beat top pair and second pair with an ace, you're gonna do well, you know.
Daniel's called.
Might have to go reverse on that. My comment. Might have to start bluffing him.
2 to the flop. Queen Jack deuce.
I hope you do.
You'll be calling?
I promise I'll be calling. I hope
gonna
you
bet.
do, because, I mean, at least I can't get you any other way. I mean, how else am I going to beat you?
I'm flopping so many hands, it's incredible. Like, everything is right in my area.
Nice semi-bluff by Daniel.
Daniel's had aces, he's had kings, he's made the nuts at least twice, and he's flopped solid draws pretty regularly, but his profits are pretty low for winning 30% of all the hands, meaning he's winning most of them before showdown. One of the pitfalls of big pocket pairs, you'd rather win a little pot on an earlier street than lose a big one after the river.
Will Daniel continue to get monster hands? Will Phil continue to whine? The answers are, I don't know, and absolutely. We're coming back. Welcome back to the big game in Las Vegas. Alongside Joe Stapleton, I am Chris Rose. And Phil Hellmuth will talk to anybody. And when they don't want to listen, he'll even talk to himself.
King 9. Comes at King 8. Undercard King.
Phil, of course, is trying to figure out exactly what happened against Prahlad Friedman as they went to showdown in an earlier hand. Why don't we get Friedman's thought process as we go behind the poker face?
I've been playing pretty tight, and I look down, I have King 9 of hearts. Everyone's folded to me, so I make it 1,200. Phil Hellmuth calls in the big blind, so it's just only us in the pot. Flop comes King 8 deuce, and he checks, and I check pretty quickly. On a flop like King 8 deuce with King 9 of hearts, it's a pretty big flop for me, head up. So I'm kind of slow playing, almost hoping maybe like a jack comes on the turn and he has a jack. Maybe I'll get some more money off him. And at the same time with my check, I'm keeping the pot a little bit smaller, you know, just in case he flopped kings up somehow with like King 8 suited, King deuce suited, or has a bigger king than me. So it's a little bit of pot control as well. So now the turn comes a 7 of hearts. So there's a 7 of hearts and an 8 of hearts. So now I have top pair and a second nut flush draw. Now he fires out 2,600, and I'm almost positive my hand is the best hand, but I decide to just call, hoping to maybe trap him into bluffing the river, or maybe I can just make a value raise on the river with my top pair. And before the river came, he said,
"Give me the 3 of diamonds when I'm betting."
For some reason, right when he said that, I put him on ace 8. So the river comes a king. He bet 4,400, and he bet it for value. If he would have bet a lot bigger, I might have just called. But because he bet 4,400, I had a feeling that my ace 8 initial read was right. And so I just raised a minimum. I could have maybe raised a little more, took his 44 to like 12,000. He might have still called. He hates to be bluffed, and especially by me. We have some history online, and he knows I like to bluff a lot. But I decided to just give him a little min raise and see if he wants to pay me off with an 8. Because if you have an 8 there and you bet and get raised, I mean, you're supposed to throw your hand away most of the time unless you have some, you know, nice read. So I raised minimum, and he said, "Man, you're that good, Prahlad? You raised me with queens?"
All right, queens are good, buddy.
And then he calls. So that was a nice hand. I enjoyed it.
Phil originally put Prahlad on a hand that had him beat and made the call anyway. Prahlad was right. Phil did have ace 8. Some might call it a sick read.
So we'll run it. Run it twice.
In Sanskrit, Prahlad means one who brings joy. I doubt Phil's really feeling that right now.
9-4 for Friedman. Folds. Eugene Kachelov, Queen 5 suited.
Not a terribly strong hand, but Eugene is a very active player.
Add it all up, means a raise to 1,500. Ace-Queen for Negreanu. Over the top to 4,500.
Ace-Queen's a strong hand, and he has position on Eugene.
Now what about Phil? 10-9 of spades.
10-9 can run down some bigger hands. Phil is in position. Maybe a little wary of the raise and the re-raise.
He folds. So does Capella. Stern. He's out. So's Eugene.
More?
Daniel
No
wins another small pot.
Oh, ace high. I was gambling. I was gambling with a hand one time.
I had one of those too.
Queen? You wanted to do it, huh? I was like, what do I do against Phil Hellmuth with
No,
ace
it's
queen
just
off?
a call.
Oh, if you were to re-raise me, what do I do with ace queen? What should I do, usually, against you?
It's probably a pretty easy fold, but
Yeah, against you, because you're nitty?
most times.
What about when you're steaming? Then it's a 4-bet, for sure. It's a shove.
Yeah.
When you're getting in there with the 9-5, you're coming with that. I know you. You got it in you.
Phil's got the nit reputation, but we haven't seen him in there with anything remotely resembling a monster yet.
Action folds over to the cannon. He folds.
I like cute cars.
Donnie Stern on the button.
Yes, Tesla. That's hot.
Cool, yeah. You're a vegan, and you encouraging people to buy electric cars. There you go. It all goes together.
Ace-9 suited for the small blind who limps.
Doesn't really go along with how he plays poker.
Prahlad and Daniel are both new age vegans. They're intolerant of deforestation, pollution, and lactose.
You know, it's pretty good car.
You're thinking of doing something. Now you're going to.
Ketcheloff raises to 1,500.
Prahlad limped into the big blind. He was a little deceptive by not raising his ace originally.
He does call.
It's like a Lotus.
He knows Eugene is going to be playing his position a lot in this spot, so his ace is ahead of Eugene's range.
Trade deuce ace. Top pair for Friedman, who checks.
Again, with Prahlad limp calling, it might be hard for Eugene to put him on an ace.
Ketcheloff checks. Another deuce on the turn.
Prahlad's played this like he has nothing.
He checks.
Eugene may want to take a stab at it.